evening, students. Today we will see the topic federal system. Even before independence, most leaders of our national movement were aware that to govern a large country like ours, it would be necessary to divide the power between province and the central government. There was also awareness that Indian society had regional diversity and linguistic diversity. This diversity needed recognition. People of different region and languages had to share power, and each people of that region shall be governed themselves. This was only logical if we wanted a democratic government. The only question was what should be the extent of powers to be enjoyed by the regional government. In view of the agitation of Muslim League for a greater representation to the Muslim, a, a compromise formula to give very large powers to the regions was discussed during the negotiation before partition. Once the decision to partition India was taken, the Constituent Assembly decided to frame a government that would be based on the principles of unity and cooperation between the center and the states and separate power to the states. The most important feature of the federal system adopted by the Indian constitution is the principle that relations between the states and the center would be based on cooperation. Thus, while recognizing diversity, the constitution emphasized unity. So here the Constitution of India has been categorized into three lists: Union list, State list, Concurrent list. Union list subjects include like defense, armed forces, arms and ammunition, atomic energy, foreign affairs, war and peace, citizenship, extradition, railways, shipping and navigation, airways, post and telegraphs, telephones, wireless and broadcasting, currency, foreign trade, interstate trade and commerce, banking, insurance, control of industries, regulations and development of mines, mineral and oil resources, elections, audit of government accounts, constitution and organization of Supreme Court, High Court, Union Public Service Commission, income tax, custom duties, export duties, corporation tax, taxes on capital value of asset, estate duties, terminal taxes, etc. Parliament has exclusive power of legislation about items mentioned in this union list. So, union list consists of 97 items. It is the longest of the three lists. And the next one is state list. Includes subjects like public order, police, administration of justice, prisons, local government, public health and sanitation, education, agriculture, animal husbandry, water supplies and irrigation, land rights, forest, fisheries, money lending, state public service commission, land revenue, tax on agriculture income, tax on land and building, estate duty, tax on electricity, tax on vehicles, taxes on luxuries, etc. The selection of these items is based on local interest, and it envisaged the possibility of diversity of treatment with respect to different items in different states of the union. The state list consists of 66 items. The next comes to concurrent list, include subjects like education, transfer of property other than agriculture land, forest, trade union, then adulteration, marriage and divorce, then contract, bankruptcy and insolvency, trustees and trust, civil procedures, contempt of court, adulteration of foodstuff, drugs and poison, economic and social planning, trade unions, security, labor welfare, electricity, newspapers, books and printing presses, stamp duties, etc. So in this concurrent list, it consists of 47 items. These are items with respect to which uniformity of legislation throughout the union is desirable but not essential. As such, they are placed under the jurisdiction of both union and the states. Next, we will talk about the emergencies, emergency provision, in which emergency provision is a political system, denotes a situation in which the chief executive imposes restriction on the right to freedom of people. In India, such restrictions are imposed according to certain provisions enshrined in the Constitution, generally known as emergency provisions. Emergency is imposed under some situation like war, external aggression, internal disturbance, or armed rebellion, or financial crisis in whole of India or any part of it. It imposed restriction on freedom of people. Emergency provision in Indian Constitution are provided in a separate part under Article 352 to 360. The order to declare emergency is passed by the President of India. He declares it on the advice of Council of Ministers. However, the real power during emergency is exercised by the Prime Minister. During emergency, the Union executives can give direction to the executive in the state and the Parliament. The Parliament can pass legislation on any matter which is not in the Union legislature list. During emergency, authorities of the state government enjoy subordinate position to the central authorities. So here we have three types of emergency: national emergency, state emergency, financial emergency. First, we will talk about national emergency. According to Article 352, emergency can be proclaimed in India in following situation like war, external aggression, internal disturbance, or armed rebellion in whole of India or part of it. The 44th Constitutional Amendment substituted the phrases internal disturbance with armed rebellion. The President can declare emergency after receiving a written communication about the Cabinet's decision in favor of emergency, and after satisfying himself about the prevalence of the situation just mentioned now. According to Article 358 and 359, President has power to suspend fundamental rights except in respect to Article 20 and Article 21. During national emergency, the union government's power extend to the jurisdiction of legislature and executive in the states. It gives direction to the states the way executive power should be exercised. Parliament enjoys a power to make laws which are not mentioned in the union list. These also include matters listed in the state list. During the time of emergency, the president has constitutional power to modify the provisions of the constitution relating to the allocation of financial resources between the union and the states. Every proclamation of such emergency is required to be laid before each House of Parliament. If both Houses of Parliament do not approve the proclamation at the expiry of 1 month from the date of proclamation, it will cease to operate. If at the time of such proclamation the House of People has been dissolved or its dissolution takes place within 1 month after the proclamation, and if the resolution has been by before Council of States but has not been passed by the House of People, the proclamation will cease to operate on the expiration of 30 days from the date when the House first met after it was reconstituted. However, the condition of expiration of 30 days does not apply if a resolution to this effect is passed by both Houses of Parliament. In addition, if lower house pass a resolution disapproving the proclamation or its continuance, it shall be invalidated even if notice of a resolution signed by not less than 1/10 of the total members is given to the President or Lok Sabha Speaker. A special sitting of the House should be held within 14 days to discuss and consider it. And the next one is state emergency. State emergency is also often known as President's Rule State Emergency. Is imposed on failure of constitutional machinery in the states. All states in India, except two newly created states, that is Chhattisgarh and Telangana, have been placed under state agency at different times. State emergency is imposed by the president if he is satisfied with the report of the governor that there is breakdown of constitutional machinery in the state. President's rule may be declared in the states on the following ground. If the state legislature fails to elect a leader as chief minister, breakdown of coalition, if the elections are not conducted due to imminent reasons and the loss of majority in the assembly. So, state emergency is imposed by the president. It is the governor of the state who acts as representative of the president or the center. This is also called central rule in the states. The central rule in the states, except Jammu and Kashmir, is called president rule. In Jammu and Kashmir, the central rule is called governor's rule. The president, through the governor, exercise legislative and executive powers, but his functions do not cover judiciary. Next goes to financial emergency. According to Article 360, financial emergency can be imposed when there is financial instability in India or any part of it. In India, financial emergency has not been imposed. If a situation arises for proclamation of financial emergency in India, It must be approved by the Parliament within 2 months of promulgation. In case the lower house is dissolved at the time of proclamation of financial emergency, it will cease to exist on expiry of 30 days from the date of its first meeting after its reconstitution. Under the situation of financial emergency, the president can reduce the salary of all government officials, including Supreme Court and High Court judges. Even money bill and other bill under Article 207 passed by the state legislature need to be submitted to the president for the approval under such circumstances. With respect to Jammu and Kashmir, the state enjoys a special status under Article 370. Indian Union have no power to promulgate financial emergency in Jammu and Kashmir. So these were the types of emergency and its explanation. So that's all in this federal system. Thank you, students.